My name is William Robbins. I'm for the affirmative side and I'm against homeschooling. So Beatrice already introduced you guys to our topic and she gave you pretty much a rundown. Diana. Diana, sorry, I'm over there. Okay. Diana already introduced the topic and gave you a rundown of some of the important points, key points that we wanted to issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down our claims for you really quick. So our significance claim, let's see, our significance claim leads us to our resolution in the sense that this is this is the general education of our children today, and what's more important than the education of the children right now, as they are the future. They will be running our country later on in life. So what we want to do is perhaps not give them the best, or well, obviously give them the best education, but the most efficient education. So in the long run, we believe that our resolution will inevitably lead to better living standards for households all over. So for our significance claim, we need to claim a fact that would be the existence of a problem. The problem is that homeschooling, as opposed to public education, is as harmful to the three major groups that Diana listed earlier: the students themselves, the parents, and the community. I won't go through them again for the sake of time. We also need a goal, which would be the claim of value, and that would be the existing value should be placed by a more recent one. And so we believe that the homeschool education process should be abolished in the state of California, and the role of public schools for the education should be the standard path. And the advantages would be the claim to fact and value, meaning a new policy would yield improved fact value as well as yield savings. So by restricting education to only the use of public schools to obtain a tuition, the benefit would be as follows. I'm only going to list a few. Saving households thousands of dollars a year on school supplies that they would have to purchase themselves if they wish to begin homeschooling. Gives children more opportunities to discover extracurricular activities or topics. Grant households a lot more free time. Give children the opportunity to achieve a higher education, bachelor's, master's, and relieve pressure on households on topics such as stress, financial issues, time. I'll go through those later. Our inherency claim is what we plan to do. Obviously, we plan to abolish the homeschool as a way of achieving education. The claims of fact for affirmative inherency is that the existing policy creates the harm directly, the existing policy prevents the implication of a solution, and the existing policies to deal with the need are flawed in some way. So, the existing policy allows for homeschooling to be acceptable in the state of California. Because the policy accepts homeschooling credits, this creates the harm simply by letting it happen. The harm being the ones that Diana listed before, and what I will get to later. The policy also prevents the implementation for the solution because so long as it's acceptable in the state of California, there will be households to continue utilizing homeschooling as a method of choice for education. And I believe that, as of right now, I'll just give you a quick statistic. There are 1.5 million homeschooled as an education in the U.S. And this policy is flawed because it continues to accept homeschooling as an acquisition of tuition. It fails to foresee the major disadvantages it provides not only for the community but also for the household themselves. I also found a little bit of attitudinal inherency. Existing policies fail because attitudes prevent them from working, and cooperation in fixing the problem is unattainable. So, the policy also exercises an attitudinal inherency because it breeds separatism, as well as a bias. Parents choose homeschooling as an option so that they may provide religious or moral instruction. In fact, I have a statistic here for you guys. Breeding separatism. Let's see, from 2003 to 2007, the percentage of students in the United States whose parents reported religion or morality as a reason they chose to homeschool increased from 72 to 83%. Let's see, and last but not least, our sovereignty claim, or repercussions of what our plan will provide. Let's see, I'd like to start off with why it's bad rather than what it will provide beneficial. Schools can be excellent monitors and whistleblowers for abused and neglected children. In most, if not all, schools in the U.S., attendance records that are maintained draw attention to truants. Children whose poor attendance can indicate their predicament. No such oversight occurs for homeschooled children in peril. The expenses, as Diana covered before, I'm going to go through them real quick. The cost of homeschooling can be rather high, especially if you're already paying for public school. We are already paying for public school. the cost of a public education are subsidized by property taxes by those in the community. So in effect, you're paying for a service that you do not use. And so when you go out and attempt to homeschool your children, you are essentially paying for a second education. It's because you have to purchase the materials, if you want to hire a separate tutor, if you want to get the books, if you want to go on field trips, they all add up. Also, another big issue that I'd like to bring up is the social skills development. When homeschooling, the children is only exposed to a limited number of people. The teacher is most likely a family relative or could be a close family friend who is homeschooling several children. The number of children in a homeschooling environment is not as large as a traditional school. So this limits the chance for a child to develop social skills and to interact with other children. It also limits the variety of knowledge that the children can receive from other adults and the ability to feel comfortable when meeting strangers. Let's see. Also, another big topic that I'd like to bring up again is the loss of opportunity. Children can perhaps be best described as being beings of potential. So during their school years, each child is in the process of discovering their talents and having them be nurtured in an attempt to best reach self-actualization. I'm not going to go through breed separatism again. I went through that before. Oh, and last but not least, I'd like to bring up one last topic. There's a issue of unschooling. So homeschooling can be a guise for unschooling. So for ideological, economic, and health issues, some parents will pull their children from school under homeschooling statutes and refuse or be unable to carry on the education. So it is estimated that in the U.S. alone, there are 100,000 unschooled children in the 1.5 million homeschooled population. Meaning, so 100,000 unschooled children have parents that are either unable or refuse to carry on the education that they're trying to obtain. So I believe that's all the time I have.